Hello everybody, it's me. Welcome back to the video. Now, in this video, for some reason I have like a default shirt on and I don't really know what that's about. But I have been getting some requests to do an updated team builder video where I go into depth about how exactly you can team build in Doodle World and just understand how it works. I made a team builder video like this a while back, and I kind of wanted to update it. Though it's going to have a lot of what I said in the previous video, like, valid here. I wanted to show you what really goes into the thought process of team building and just the general things you're going to need to know when you're trying to get into PvP and getting a team ready. Without further ado, let's hop into it. Now, generally, when you are building a team, you want to start with something. And I'm going to show you guys the team that I've been using a lot recently, offline and on videos and such. I wanted, when Awakened Vulture first came out, I was like, I really want to make a rain team because I love rain. It's a really, really fun strategy. And then once this thing set up rain itself, I was like, oh, sick. This thing's going to be awesome. So the first thing I did was I added a Volt enchant. Relatively bulky with health and magical attack. With Storm Heal, Shockwave, Psycho Force, and Climate Shot. Psycho Force can be substituted for Psychokinetic Launch. It's up to what you want to do. And the equipments are generally bulky and just like can do good damage. So I started out with that, and then I was like, okay, what am I weak to? And then you just look at its weaknesses. I'm a pure Spark type, so I have two weaknesses: Crystal and Earth. Now, since I had Crystal and Earth, I thought to myself, what is a thing that I could pair that works really, really well with this thing? And then it hit me. Yup, that's right, Grammantle. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait, why Grammantle? It only is immune to Earth. That's decent, I guess, but they can just click the Crystal move on you. Yes, they can, which is why I have another teammate that I can talk about. But Grammantle is really, really nice on this specific team, just because of its defensive typing of Dark and Air. Now, you do not share a weakness with Volt enchant. Even though it says I'm a poison type, I have the Dark Brute, which changes me to a Dark and Air type. Now, as a Dark and Air type, I am weak to Electric, Ice, Beast, Spark, and Light, right? And something that's interesting is Spark resists 4 of those 5 typings. Ice is the only one that doesn't resist. I could also be missing a few other typings in there. You can correct me if I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure those are the only things that Grammantle is weak to. But when you look at that, there are 5 things that Grammantle is weak to, 4 of which are covered by Volt enchant. And it's really, really nice to look at it in that way because look, you got Remy, Pure Spark, and these two offer really, really good synergies because if I'm scared, it's like, oh crap, I gotta, like, if I'm weak to something but I outspeed, I can click hit and run, which then lets me go into Remy, which then I can awaken, and then I threaten stuff, which is really, really nice, and it is so helpful when you're trying to get this thing on the field safely. And yeah, and as well as this thing setting up rain, it's nice to have some stuff that can actually abuse rain. So that was when I thought of my next partner. The next partner I wanted to add was someone that could use rain to their benefit, which was Gyronaut. And Gyronaut works really well because, as you can see, whenever if I don't even have to awaken Remy half the time, or I do awaken it all the time, but sometimes you don't even have to awaken it if you want to get this thing safe. Because look, it's immune to electric, right? This is also weak to Mind, which is actually one of Grammantle's immunities, so that works out really, really well. It is also weak to Plant, which is something that Grammantle resists. And Grammantle overall offers a really, really strong defensive capability to this. It's kind of like a semi-rain team, I'd say. And yeah, you have the Storm Surge trait, so you can double your speed. And then you just have 4 attacks doing incredible amounts of damage. And you can just throw out very consistent damage and overwhelm the enemy with Lethal Ornament. I haven't used Gyronaut all too much, but overall, I do think it's a fun thing to use. And if you're going to use Rain, you should consider Gyronaut. Now, I've been using Rain offensively here. What if I could use it defensively? And that is where Kadin comes in. With health and defense with the trait Titanium Bucket, I get a melee defense boost, which allows me to tank way more melee hits. I also have to use Crayon, so I can tank more hits and be overall more helpful in the long run. And with the moves, we have Storm Heal, Rust, Wave Shot, and Snap Freeze. Wave Shot is there so we can just get rid of traps if they're too annoying and we don't want to deal with them. Storm Heal so we can heal half of our health under rain. half of it, by the way. And since we are a water type, we don't really care about the boosted water moves that rain gives. Since we're a defensive one as well, we don't care. And Rust is nice because it's boosted under rain. It also helps you hit metal types that resist your Snap Freeze. Snap Freeze pairs well with Rust because it's able to hit water types that resist Rust, and it also hits plant types. Snap Freeze, I think, is just honestly a really, really good move. And you've got the equipment. I probably should have shown the equipments for both of these things. But you got pretty good equipments here with Kadin, nice and defensive, and it's generally going to be able to offer a lot of defensive capabilities. And it's able to check things like Rotera, do decent against Mothra, okay against Archipos, good against Tufflaze, which are some good awakenings. But yeah, when you have stuff like this, it's already a pretty good core, though then you kind of look at it and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a little weak to something specific, being electric, where if I only have resists, what really am I going to do? That's where another thing can come in, Zappoira. Now the thing is about Zappoira is that it's not a defensive electric check. It's not. What this Zappoira is meant to be is if I'm worried about being outsped by something at the very beginning and I get an unfortunate lead, I can click hit and run with Zappoira, which allows me to switch out and get a safe switch into something that I want to be able to deal with. And if you watch the tips and tricks video, you will know that Zappoira is very, very fast, and it's able to usually get sent out first. And if you are sent out first, you're going to guarantee outspeeds, unless if it is Rush. If it's a Rush Wolf Freeze, Rush Seraphim, Vitality Hibiscus, or a Vitality Springling, if as long as you're sent out first, you will know. And that's really, really good. The downside of this thing is that it's extremely frail and is able to die very easily to priority, things like Quick Strike and all that stuff, which, yeah, this thing does offer pretty good offensive capabilities. With Helicopter Lightning Kick is really, really solid. Hit and Run is beautiful. And then the bread on the butter, in my opinion, is Climate Shot. Very uncommon move to see on Zappoira, but it works really well under rain whenever you think of things that check this thing. I would think something that I would think of is Monologue, which Monologue is very, very good against Zappoira because of its earth typing and its high melee defense. You can literally just click Climate Shot, it's probably gonna get one shot. And if you get the lead off of Rotera versus Zappoira and you outspeed, later you will know that you can kill it with a one-shot Climate Shot, which is beautiful. And of course, your max speed is going to be as fast as possible, which gets you your fast pivots, and it's generally your fastest thing on your team on this style. But yeah, 5 out of 6 members done. Now, can you think of the last thing we're going to want? Now, I will give you a little bit, but it's not really what you would expect. If anybody guessed Gyronaut, then yes, you are correct. Gyronaut is a very uncommon pick, but honestly, I think it's so, so good on rain. I don't know what it is, but it just pairs really well on this team. Look, you're weak to mind, boom, right? You're weak to water, or no, you're weak to fire. We have Kadin, and fire is a little bit of a problem, but of course, since it's rain, fire is never really something you're worried about. You're weak to ice, go Kadin. Right? This thing offers such good defensive and offensive capability with its insane coverage. It's got Hemlock Hit, Toxic Bomb, Rusty Roots. And if you don't know, like, this coverage is super duper solid, and it's probably some of the best coverage in the game that you can have. It's very, very difficult to wall. Along with your Spiky Thorns, you're able to stop hit and run leads, and you're able to stop multi-hitters, and you're able to be a good check to Springling, which is a little bit of a threat to this team. You're able to do pretty good against that, and overall you offer a lot of defensive capability, and this team honestly works very, very, very well. I've had a lot of success with it. Got Theater, Vial, and Pizza. I've had so much success with this team, and I think it's very, very fun. And if you want to try rain, you build something like this. You don't have to do it's like half rain, half it's like rain balance in a way where I'm balancing out like 2 offensive things being Remy and Zappo. Well, like Zappo, Gyronaut are the immediate offensive things. You got the like defensive, offensive things being these 2. Then you got the main defensive thing, and then you got a defensive pivot. Overall, I think it's a very, very solid team. It's very fun. The only problem is your real damage output really comes from Gyronaut, which I haven't actually done a whole lot with since I just recently added it onto the team. But yeah, that's generally how you want to go about making your teams, is start with something and build off from there. So if you wanted to build a team around like Awakened Archipos, first look at its typing and look at its like weaknesses, look at what it does, and figure out how to build around that. You know, you could add a light type so you're immune to like Shadow Lurk, you know, like add Abyssant if you had Abyssant with Archiposs Awakened, that's really solid because you resist fire. Abyssant resists fire, resists rust. It is immune to Shadow Alert, and is immune to Dark, which is a really good teammate, which is all things that Archiposs is weak to. And then you're also Abyssant being weak to Plant, Poison, and Electric. 2 of 3 things that Archiposs can resist. It's honestly really solid, and overall, if you really want to get into PvP, you gotta know your team building. I thought I'd dedicate a whole video to explaining it and what exactly goes into the thought process of team building, and you really gotta know how to do it, because you shouldn't just slap things onto a team willy-nilly if you're just trying to like win in PvP. Because people in games play to win, and generally you want to use the strongest things. So just look for fun combos, and overall, yeah, have a fun time. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see everyone in the next one. Bye bye.